Some cumulus and stratocumulus at two different levels, as seen from our aerial footage here. Looks like the cumulus is at about 3,000 feet, and the stratocumulus may be about 4,000 or 5,000. This is most definitely from some sort of inversion. The cumulus rises and then spreads, forming a layer of stratiform overcast. And that's the forecast sounding corresponding to what we see out there. It really doesn't take much. That little inversion right there, that could be from any number of different sources. There could be advection coming in from the west. There could be latent heat from convection. That likely did not happen. And there could also be adiabatic heating from subsidence. Yeah, that's certainly a possibility. And I think what could be happening is a combination of that advection and subsidence. Here's a look at conditions across the U.S. this afternoon. That very strong frontal system we had yesterday across the Rockies has moved northeast. And we're talking about the air mass here. The cool air mass has modified, and we find the leading edge through Minnesota into Manitoba. On the trailing edge of that cold front, we do see a little bit of Bear Clinic development in northwest Oklahoma and the sign of a cyclonic circulation there. So that's centered about right there, and the dry line, of course, is wrapped up in that. You can see the dew point contrast between Dallas and Lubbock, 77 down to 42. Now the moisture supply, yeah, that's really going full steam into Texas and Oklahoma there, bringing up those mid and upper 70s into that region. And as you go east, the moisture kind of tapers off. Well, we got upper 70s there in Arkansas, but it diminishes down to 60s in Georgia. Between this system and this system, it looks like we're kind of developing a little bit of a southern stream. The northern stream, of course, up in the northwest, maybe going up into Quebec, and possibly a southern stream running about like that. And here's the 200 millibar chart near the top of the troposphere. There's the main polar front jet. Looks like it's very meridional. Lots of north to south and south to north transport of heat. And another example right here on the East Coast with this closed low right here. And well to the south, we can pick up some signs of that southern stream. This is actually the subtropical jet down there, but if we go down to 500 millibars, you can see the wind start to pick up a little bit there in Georgia. So that there is supporting the Alabama and Georgia system, and not a whole lot showing up there for Kansas, except for a widening of the polar front jet axis. Precipitable water. Yeah, that's a very good product for finding your tropical air mass. And we see that the bulk of it runs from about Texas up to Arkansas, kind of in that band right there. Let's drop a sounding right in the middle of that axis, like over North Texas around Dallas. And there we get kind of a sense of the depth of the tropical moisture. The bulk of it is in the lowest 5,000 feet, and only above that does it start dropping off into the 50s and 40s dew points, down to the 30s, and maybe the very top of that tropical air mass is about right there. That's going to be about 14,000 feet. Above that, plenty of dry air, and that's contributing to these heightened decapes indicated on the thermodynamics summary. Likewise, we also see the advance of the polar air into the northern plains. There it is right there. So a couple days ago, it was covering this area right here, and you can see how it's advanced east and made good progress into Colorado and even New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle. Triple Point, yeah, that stands out pretty well up there northeast of Winnipeg, and the front, cold front, out there near Minnesota, and the warm front going up into the James Bay region. And yeah, the heat wave does continue up there in Canada. There's those 90s right there, not too far from James Bay. We saw 93 up there yesterday in Fort Severn. Looks like it's dropped off substantially since then. But yeah, if we go up into this region, 90 degrees, so we might actually have to bring this front a little bit further north. Maybe something like that. Possibly a wave right there, and maybe we would kind of bring that down like that. So that's a little bit of that analysis that I talk about, where you want to kind of correct as you go through the charts and gradually improve your diagnosis of the atmosphere. And up to the north, yeah, there is still a little warm air up there in the Northwest Territories, even up in this region right here. But as you go further up into the Baffin Island region, temperatures get a lot more seasonal. All right, taking a look at weather around the country, starting with the southwest U.S., it is clear out there. But looking down to the south, you can see cirrus. That right there is the subtropical jet, flowing from about Tucson up to Amarillo. In the northwestern U.S., there's the cold pool hanging on across the northern Rockies, and you can see a difference in the anvil drift. See with these storms here, the anvil appears to be spreading to the east. Out here in Montana, they appear to be spreading to the northwest. So when we animate this, you can see some evidence of something rotating right in there. So that could be a little upper level low in that area. And there it is on the 300 millibar chart. Low right there in the Spokane area, and you can see the cyclonic flow around that circulation. In the northeast, it looks unsettled, quite a bit like yesterday. And if we look at this animation here, looks like there is an upper level low over New Hampshire and Vermont. In fact, there it is right there. It's almost like a mini hurricane, kind of like. We refer back to the 300 millibar chart and pull up the correct frame. And there it is. Little upper level low. That's probably a little barotropic system, maybe an old occlusion, drifting to the southwest. And we see that's probably going to be carried actually to the south off the Connecticut coast and off the coast of North Carolina by Friday morning. Yeah, it's hard to believe we're coming up on another weekend here shortly. And there's the southeast states, unsettled once again, and it looks like an MCS in northern Arkansas up to Illinois. And we see another circulation. Seems like every corner of the country has one. That looks cyclonic as well. Let's refer back to the 300 millibar chart. And do we see anything in that area? Not really. There's probably a little low there in southwest Alabama, so maybe we have to go to a lower level. Let's go to 500 millibars. Do we pick out something there? Not really. Maybe a little bit of heightened positive vorticity in Tennessee. We go down to 700 millibars. Now I think we're starting to pick out a circulation here. Let's advance this up to the 6-hour point. Yeah, that looks like a little circulation right there. So I think what we're seeing there is a shallow baroclinic low in northern Georgia and not much vertical extent up into the mid and upper troposphere. Yeah, I figured why not take a look up in New England and see that little circulation. So you're going to want to watch this area right there. And we run that forward. This is about 2 hours of animation. And you can see that spin to that deep baroclinic low across that region. So this is a cold core low. A lot of these storms are forming due to the instability, combination of diurnal heating, moist low levels, and cold mid and upper tropospheric conditions. And of course in the mid-Mississippi River Valley, we've got that MCS coming into the Paducah area. Paducah located about right in that area there. Storm also moving past Carbondale and into the area just north of Memphis. Going further down the line into the Memphis area, looks like it forms a little bit of a wave there in northeast Arkansas, and then going down to the tail end. Looks like it tapers off there in Little Rock, and we can see the outflow boundary just like that. So that outflow boundary will probably be present tomorrow. So there's the SPC Day 1 outlook showing the marginal risk along that MCS and along the outflow boundary. And then for tomorrow, looks like possible redevelopment along that boundary. Let's look at the weather over the next 10 days, and I think the dew point product is definitely what you want to use in the middle of summer, like what we have right now. So moving forward, yeah, some baroclinicity there in southern Kansas, and that'll help channel some moisture into the high plains late in the week. So I would expect, thunderstorm development from Kansas, Colorado, north into South Dakota there. Also late in the week, looks like maybe towards the weekend actually, little tropical disturbance coming together in Florida, and you can see it right in that area. And it looks like through Saturday and Sunday it starts developing a little bit, and we see it right there around the Tallahassee area, and that moves up into the Carolinas around Tuesday. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. The Gulf is open, but not much happening. Looks like maybe at the end of next week, some of this moisture coming up into Minnesota and North Dakota will probably provide a window of severe weather in that area. But that's about it as far as the forecast goes. The Bitterroot range. What is that, and where is it? This is part of our geological tidbits where we're going to try to learn as much as we can about geography around the U.S. and some of the adjoining areas of Canada and Mexico. The Bitterroot range, located between Montana and Idaho. And it's going to be this mountain range right in here. Obviously, that forms the western edge of Arctic air during the winter when it spreads south and hits Great Falls, Cut Bank, and Bozeman pretty heavily, and it kind of gets piled up in this region and rarely goes west. Now, sometimes it does, but the air mass has to be pretty deep for that to happen. So the Bitterroot range, that's a very prominent feature during the wintertime as we find cold fronts stalled out along the length of that. Okay, hope you all have a great Thursday. Yeah, we're coming up to Thursday already. So that leaves us 2 more days of videos, and then we'll head into the weekend. 4th of July, but we'll be on a regular schedule. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.